Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. Whoops. It's freedomthroughastrology.com. I'm your astrologer, Donald Patak. There's my contact information, standard YouTube copyright, and all that wonderful stuff. And the keys to the reading, because I'm giving you that's part of my motto. I read what's called constellational astrology, sometimes called true sidereal astrology. It's astrology by the visible sky. In ancient times, the astrologers were also astronomers. So they're looking and saying, this is where this planet is, the sun is in the sky right now. Tropical astrology fixed the signs to seasons back in the Roman Empire. I ain't living in ancient Rome, neither are you. So it's astrology by the visible sky. And I do things, like I said, just a little bit differently. I use the natural size of the constellations. There are some astrologers who make each constellation the same size. Well, Virgo in the visible sky is 49 and a half degrees or so. She's really huge. But signs like Aries, Cancer, Libra, Scorpio are all less than 25. So I'm using the visible sky, natural size of the constellations. And when you're doing that, I actually use the astrological midpoints. What happened is Athens Shementi was looking at using stellarium or using the Prometheus and going real deep in, and he noticed that Scorpio stars were in the next constellation. He says, wait a second, this ain't right. That's Scorpio. So he looked at the zodiac belt, constellation A, constellation B. Where's the last bright star in the zodiac belt, and what's the halfway point? I like it. I think it's more accurate. And the natural sign size brings us to the next point, which I really should bump up one. Uh, is the between Scorpio and Sagittarius is a gap, and that's the sign of a fucus. It's the symbol of the wounded healer. My current understanding of the mythos is that it's a man holding a snake by the head and the tail. In ancient times, the snake symbolized knowledge. When you got it by the head and the tail, you're controlling knowledge or using knowledge. And it's where you use knowledge to heal yourself so you can heal others with similar wounds. So there you go. This is the weekly edition. So these are universal lessons. Have mercy on your fellow ground earth travelers. I use evolutionary astrology, which says these are lessons to learn. You have freedom of choice. You are fated to face these transits. You get to choose how you're going to. So you can't control the outcome, but you can make the decisions. The dates are based on the Eastern US time zone. I do live outside of Buffalo, New York. Operating within 1 degree of exact, anything more than that, it really gets overwhelming. And if I'm feeling overwhelmed, you're lost. And the software I use is Capricorn by Prometheus, adapted to the 13 signs. And these are the weekly transits. That's supposed to be May 5th. And I made note of that when I was doing my run through. My apologies. But this is for May 5th through May 11th. We have the sun in Aries right now. The sun is in the last phase of Aries. So it's learning courage and assertiveness. So there's your aim there. The moon is actually very steady this week. Monday through Wednesday, it's in Libra, it's in Leo. Thursday through Sunday, it's in Virgo, and then on Sunday it does step into Libra. So the moon is very, very steady and stable this week, which is a good thing. We really don't have one of the major phases this week in the moon. We have a minor phase, the gibbous moon, which, what in the world is a gibbous? I had to look it up myself. It's a sesquiquadrate. Say that one 3 times fast. That's a square plus a semi-square, which is like 135 degrees. It's an emotional breakdown or breakthrough is what that'll be. I'll touch on that. I don't have a slide made for it, but I will talk about it when I get there. Active planets on the inner side. What's triggering things? Mercury and Venus. On the outer planets, what's being triggered usually is Jupiter and Pluto. Sometimes it's outer planet to outer planet, and I will deal with that. Our power transits starting late this week, which will, power transits for me are transits that run longer than a week. Uh, This will be Jupiter in the South Node. So that's going to be starting up at the end of this week. And that means next week we'll be adding the North Node. And retrograde is Pluto, our everybody's favorite little planet. I refuse to call it a dwarf planet. It has an atmosphere, it has 5 moons, and it's sneaky enough to get between Neptune and Uranus. And so I consider Pluto a planet. All hail Pluto. Haven't done that in a while, but Pluto's retrograde and it's the planet of transformation. In Capricorn, I'll talk about that. So this is our week in an overview, and you can see there are very few transits. It's going to be a calm and steady week for the most part, I think, unless you choose to have chaos. But as you can see, very few transits. Early week, we get a blast. End of the week, we get a little bit. But very calm, very few transits, giving you that emotional stability. And 2-3 weeks ago, it was very busy, very overwhelming. So things are calming down, thankfully, and becoming easier to manage. And I can't remember if this sesquiquadrate is 8th or 9th, but I'll be posting that online when that does happen because it's an unusual one. But what we're dealing with there is it's the sun in Aries, moon in Virgo. So as you're being challenged, and this is a hard challenge, to work through emotional perfectionism and realize you need to improve, you can either have a breakthrough or a breakdown. And ideally, we're shooting for that emotional breakthrough, that emotional epiphany, which helps you to see what's going on, how you're holding yourself back, and you can move on it. Otherwise, it's that breakdown, and you just fall into fear and pessimism. I kind of gave you that in a nutshell. I will be posting on that actual day. And as you can see, Sunday, we do have Mercury entering Aries. So really things are starting to pick up a little bit here. Venus is still working on her catch-up slingshot. And for transits this week, I mean, we do have some sextiles, which are excitements or interests, and we do have some squares, which are challenges. Now, those challenges don't come until the weekend, which don't start until Sunday, really, which is nice. Okay, so let's clear all that. Just got to close this out. And from last week, we have Pluto moving station retrograde. And we talked, as I said, Pluto is the planet of, get this out of the way there. Pluto is the planet of transformation. And in Capricorn, you're transforming your integrity and character. So you're looking at deep wounds or just maybe some questionable things. And it's like, and the question here is, how do I fix my integrity? How do I fix my character? And that's what Pluto is going to be working on now for a very long time. Is that deep work, deep inner work on healing and transforming your character. So reflect on that. Take time to reflect on your character and your integrity. Look at the work that's in front of you. How you help can grow and change, and reflect on the best way to achieve that. And the shadow here, Pluto, everybody focuses so much on the dark side of Pluto, unfortunately, but Pluto can be very nihilistic and cynical and reliving its wounds. And in Capricorn, very self-defeating and control freakish. So slipping into defeatism, cynical attitude, leaving you feeling isolated, alone, and attitudes can be self-defeating, leaving you caught in a cycle of failure. So you just be reliving and rehashing the past. It's going through retrograde this weekend, and Pluto will be retrograde through approximately mid-October. As we get closer to that, I will be able to refine that date. But there we go there. On Sunday, the moon did enter Leo. So the moon is your emotional self. Leo, again, the sign of Leo, learning to be appreciated. So learning to express your emotions, express how you're feeling, be real about it, and be appreciated for it. When called to take center stage, take it. Be seen, be appreciated. Now, the shadow, we do know that the moon can get moody, and in Leo, it can be the drama king or the drama queen. So it can be explosive and over the top, or it can be the cowardly lion and trying to hide away. So be careful about, ideally you're expressing yourself and learning how to do it appropriately. Uh, slipping into the endless drama or just trying to play to the crowd, being the puppet to the crowd, has you being shallow, superficial, and being fake is apparent to everybody and anybody. And finally, we have Mercury in Pisces, sextiling Jupiter in Taurus. So Mercury in Pisces, Mercury learning communication in Pisces from a higher perspective or different perspective, even a spiritual perspective. So gaining spiritual perspective on your knowledge and your learning ability to communicate. Sextile is an excitement or an interest. It's a waning sextile because Mercury is closing in on Jupiter. So this is you're seeing things from a different perspective and a higher perspective, and is helping you to release it so that you can, Jupiter, planet of opportunity, find peace and stability, sign of Taurus. So this is an opportunity where you can, through higher learning and communication, be able to find, strong inner peace and stability and calm. Shadow, Mercury is that know-it-all or can't learn it all, but learning is shut down and it's either running the mouth off or not talking at all. And any of those things, when it's in that sextile, is like a nervous energy, and Jupiter winds up being a crisis in confidence to me when in the shadow, and it's either overconfident or underconfident, and that is destabilizing. And you can either fall into laziness or you be that bull in the china shop, pick your poison. But again, that starts Sunday. So pay attention to the insights that you're receiving and how can you use them to bring you stability. What do you need to unlearn and let go of, kind of? That works for me. Monday, Venus. Why am I smelling vanilla coffee? I didn't make this. This is Sunday night. Last time I brewed coffee was this morning at 9 o'clock when I woke up. And I didn't brew vanilla. I wonder which ghost that is. Hi, ghost. Okay, back to this. I don't suffer from ADD, ADHD. I enjoy it. You pay the price. It's entertaining for many people. Laugh with me, so thank you. Venus in Pisces, sextile Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. This is your spiritual relationships, or being able to see relationships from a higher level, or inspiration in relationships, your creativity. And Venus is also the planet of rest, recreation, having fun. And this is an initial sextile. So we're waxing, we're growing. How is that? How are the people you're with helping you transform your character and integrity? How is your how are you growing in your creative potential and transforming in your creative potential? Or how are you through rest and recreation? How is that giving you the chance to calm down? Because I'll be honest, when I was in college, I worked 7 days a week. If it wasn't at work or I was doing college homework and it burned me out, my character went. So knowing when to take that rest, how can that help you grow your integrity and character? So how are relationships helping you and helping at a deeper level and bring healing and transformation? And how are other people helping you to face and heal old wounds? Or how is art or music helping you to face and heal old wounds? Or maybe just taking that break. How does that help you heal those wounds to your integrity? The shadow here, Venus, slick and manipulative. It can be very lazy on top of that. And in Pisces, it's instead of being inspiring, it's deceptive. How are you living those lies, being fake in relationships? And how is that damaging your integrity and your character even more? So being slick, manipulative, reliving old wounds, making them worse, and also dark moods, desire to escape and hide away. So the shadow of this can actually lead to deeper wounding to your character. And when you realize it, you want to get out. You want to get out of Dodge fast. Tuesday. Oh, let me get this out of the way now. This is going to be this is going to be a Tuesday, Wednesday shot. Mercury going 90 miles an hour here. Mercury conjunct Chiron, learning and Mercury, I said, learning and communication. Chiron, the asteroid of healing. So how are you learning to heal, or how are you communicating healing? And in Pisces, it's receiving that higher perspective and inspiration that helps you to heal yourself. Let's start. Heal, physician, heal thyself. When people see you healing yourself, then you become the inspiration to have them heal themselves. So how are you being inspired to learn to heal yourself so that you can help others heal, either by your model or by helping them through it? Uh, yeah. And it can lead to shifts in perception and understanding the wounds and helping them to heal quicker as well. It's a very powerful opportunity, and it can be helping you to understand the wound or the injury from a higher perspective. Very, very powerful opportunity here. The shadow, Mercury, can be unfocused and distracted very easily. It can shut down learning. It can shut down communication, which Chiron's shadow is just rewounding, refusing to heal, or wounding others. How can you be using your information or knowledge to hurt another person? And in Pisces, trying to hide it, denial, escapism, fantasy. So be careful using information to hurt others and denying injuries. These all just, if you got a broken bone in your leg and people say, go get that leg checked out, and you're like, nope, you're going to keep going with it. Uh, it's just going to lead to a bad permanent live. I actually, again, personal example from my life, I fell down a ladder. I should have gone to the hospital, had my foot x-rayed and set, and had it in a cast for like 6 weeks. Nope, wouldn't do that. Now I have to do it the hard way. They actually have to knock me out, break the foot, and reset it, and with pins and all this stuff that was described to me. Not sure I'm going to go through it just yet. But, and again, that's a long-term, and this can be a long-term injury because Mercury is not going to be coming back for almost a year here. Wednesday, come on, we can do this. There we go. The moon enters Virgo. Emotionally, you're ready for self-improvement, ready to improve yourself in your skills. You're seeing how you hold yourself back, and you're ready to make, on the ideal improvement, getting yourself better. And accepting responsibility and be willing to work with others who can help you. So emotionally, hey, can I help you? Yeah, sure, you're up for it. The shadow here, the moon, can be moody. And in Virgo, it gets deeply pessimistic, not to say cynical, but deeply pessimistic, bit of a control freak, wanting to micromanage things in a way. And stepping into pessimistic attitudes, self-critical, leave you feeling emotionally overwhelmed, in which case you just ruined the second half of your week. And in this is where you're going to have that sesquiquadrate to the sun. So that's where we're going to have that emotional breakthrough, in which case the bells and whistles, the lights go off, the bells and whistles are ringing, and you're like, aha, I get it, or oh God, I can't handle this. And we have that proverbial meltdown. So that is going to be happening Thursday and into Friday. I said I would post on that. So Thursday and Friday, we do have that. Take a breath. Remember to exhale, repeat. I don't know why I have to write that. I'll tell you the story sometime. It was a fun joke that somebody sent to me. It's like, when do I have to exhale? Saturday, we start picking up again, and Jupiter is in Taurus, is squaring the South Node in Virgo. So Jupiter, Jupiter is actually triggering the South Node here because it's the faster mover. Jupiter's orbit is just under 12 years. The nodes of the moon have I think it's an 18.6 year orbit. So really, Jupiter is triggering the nodes in this situation. So Jupiter, opportunity for peace and stability. And that peace and stability is helping it face the challenge of how it holds itself back and how you're holding yourself back with unrealistic expectations. So the challenge here is to let go of those unrealistic expectations, perfectionism, etc. You see it, you realize it, let it go. Okay. Yeah, the shadow here, Jupiter is overconfidence or crisis in confidence is the way I like to put it. And it's either overconfidence or too much or underconfidence. Overconfidence is that bull when buttons get pushed, it's that bull in the china shop. Underconfidence, you just get lazy. Why bother trying? And in the South Node in Virgo becomes that perfectionist. So that bull in a china shop fighting to be that perfect person that cannot be done, or it just quits and gets lazy. So those unrealistic expectations keeping you caught in a cycle of the past, and that square makes it a crushing weight. Squares are designed to strengthen you. So ideally, working through this square and the square to the North Node will strengthen you. However, in the shadow, it becomes a crushing burden, and here it feels very frustrating. And on Sunday, Mercury enters Aries. So Mercury, planet of learning, communication, in Aries, learning courage and assertiveness. And the best way to work with this energy is to find out the house that it's in, because that'll tell you where the best learning can be done. Um, so having that courage to learn and open your mind up to new possibilities, new information, new ideas, being curious, embracing the mental shifts that come along, and being able to communicate it. It's about having that courage to communicate as well. Now, the shadow here is shutting down learning and communication. That's because either you're a know-it-all or you can't learn it all, or it's that person who just talks too much and won't shut up. I've strong Mercury energy in my chart. People do tell me I'm long-winded. Okay, I'm working on it. Or is that person that you break a crowbar trying to get them to open their mouths and talk. And in Aries, it's falling into fear, and the fear can either come out as anger or cowardice. So falling into fear or refusing to learn or speak up can lead to some either anger or cowardice. And the angry, violent expression can cause problems. Words that wound are felt deeply. So this is a time to really watch what you say, because like I said, words can wound. So be very careful with what you're saying during this transit. And using information to hurt people as well, bad choice. On Sunday, we also have the moon entering Libra. Open up to paradox. And paradox isn't two ducks. It's the best way for me, emotional paradox, things aren't going to make sense, and that's okay. To give you an example, people like this equation: 2 plus 2 equals what? Where Libra is going to give you this equation: x plus y equals 4. And before you sit down and say, well, that's easy, it's 0 and 4, 1 and 3, and 2 and 2. What about 1.5 and 2.5? What about 4 and, we said 4 and 0. What about 5 plus a negative 1? So it's emotionally knowing that there's more than two sides to a story, and there might be a third side or a fourth side. So it's being open and accepting to the life not making sense and being okay with it. The shadow is being indecisive, refusing to choose. It can put you completely out of balance. So you can have emotional balance, knowing that the scale is going to rise and fall and eventually even out, or you're just constantly putting weight on and things are just going to go crazy. And finally, we have Mercury in Aries squaring Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. And we just talked about this, so I'm not going to dig deep into that, but Mercury in Aries, having the courage to learn and communicate, and this is the initial square. The purpose here is to strengthen you. So what are you learning? What are the challenges you're facing that is going to help you to heal and transform your integrity and your character? Popping into my mind, your word is your bond. So look at what you're saying, look at what you're writing, look at what you're promising, what you're speaking, etc. Are you following through with it? What's your follow through? Now that I remember it, I owe 2 kids lunch at school. I better work on that. And yes, you can post comments in on YouTube. Did you teach those kids to lunch? But that's the ideal here. It's the strength of working through learning and helping, and how is that helping you to transform your integrity and character. The shadow here, we said the square is crushing, and that's you not learning and refusing to learn, refusing to communicate, and how that is damaging your character, damaging your integrity, leading to a greater wounding. So that unwilling, so let's see, yeah, that leading to shifts in perspectives. The ideal, the strength is leading shift in perspectives that can help you heal and transform your character into you being a better person. The shadow, your unwillingness to learn out of fear and resulting power trips can feel crushing. Becoming rigid and defensive in your mental attitudes can reinforce dogmatic beliefs and cynical attitudes about your life. And that can be a crushing defeat. And so here we go. So that's the week in a nutshell-ish. Follow me on social media. I am on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So do like and follow. I am on the Digital Soul Space, which is these guys are making billions of dollars off your data. Digital Soul Space is run by Mighty Networks. Your privacy, your data is yours. They're very focused on user privacy. And it's a bully-free zone. Not only is there astrology, there's crystals, tarot, oracle decks, a wide variety of spiritual practices. It's an incredible space. I don't know who it was that when you fill it out, when you join, you actually have to fill out an application, and the moderators look at it, and then they admit you. I'm not sure who it was that gave, hey, Patak said this was a safe place to go. They actually sent me a message with a screenshot of that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It made their day, and I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. So thank you to whoever was. I really appreciate that. Let's go to the site reminder. I am going to be, working on the site a little bit more this week, hopefully. But here it is. You work through this, and the first set of the keys is your reading, your birth chart, your natal chart, which is your contract, who you came here to become, past life reading or a karmic reading, past life that you're reliving the archetype in this lifetime to heal from it. If you don't believe in past lives, it's a special lesson you came here to learn. Quick Pick combines those two readings. Second set is the horoscope. After you know who you're here to become, understand the journey of learning. So there's life cycle and two different versions of the yearly horoscope. And these can start at any time and I go one full calendar year afterwards, plus usually. Quarterly is any 3-month block. Monthly, I like to go new moon to new moon, but there are people who like to go the first of the month to the last of the month. However you like to do it, that's a 1-month block. And I do packages. These packages combine readings and have a 10% discount built right in. If you click on subscribe, I just need an email address. You get my weekly newsletter with all this information and insights. And if I do any sort of discounts, wow, hold on. You'll find them there. Scheduling is where you want to work with me, where you work on me one-on-one. Way I do my readings is you order a reading, either birth karmic or the horoscopes. I do a full-blown recording. I share that with you. You watch it. You'll get a code for a follow-up reading where you get to ask me questions. An hour, depending on what the reading is, it's an hour to an hour and a half. You get to ask me questions so that you're not trying to squeeze questions in while I'm doing the reading. You've got the full reading. Now you're getting clarification. So services is where you place your order. Scheduling is where we have the follow-up. If you order a package, you'll be ordering it through the scheduling. And what happens there is we get together and we talk about the delivery and the way you want things done, because people want readings done a certain way. I like to honor that. Blog is where I do my deep dives. And you can contact me there through my email. So let me get back to this. Whoops, come on, handwork. Current slide. So we did that. That's a variable. I'm also now on Mural, which is a new app, Meet in Real Life. That's my identity. You can contact me through your cell phone. It's a really neat little app. I'm just learning how to work with it. But if you see a transit for the day and you want to know how to work with it, contact me through Mural. We'll meet. It's 10-minute blocks, but so it takes 20 minutes. We work through it for 20 minutes. We get it through 10 minutes. You're only paying for 10 minutes, so it's 10-minute blocks. We work through it. You get your answers. You get your answers right away that day when I'm available. That's my identity. And there's a lot. I've been looking at it. There's a lot of really neat things on there. There's astrology, but if you're looking to learn how to draw, there's teachers who are willing to work with you. It's a really neat stuff. Things got potential. So thank you very much for watching this forecast. Remember to like, follow, share, sign up for the newsletter. And remember, in the visible sky, your life changes. Now, we didn't have a cat commercial this week. Kit is next to me, right next, lying on a pillow. Oh, Ghost is next to me. Ghost is also next to me, lying on a pile of newspapers, which I guess is more comfortable than my lap right now. Shadow is in my pantry. She finally took the kittens, all four of them, from behind the washer, and they're now in this box. And I took some of my old dress shirts that were ripped up, and I put them in there, and so they're in there. She's got one gray, two short hair blacks, and a long hair black. And Tuxedo is usually sitting in the living room now. That seems to be where he likes to live. So we didn't have a cat commercial this week. No cat interruptions. Strange. Pluto retrograde must have them resting. Thank you very much. In the visible sky, your life changes, or in the visible life, your sky changes. Have a good week.